Hi, I'm Randall. I grew up along the coast of Maine, and that's where my love of the ocean started. I sailed over 10,000 miles in my 20s, and after hanging up my Fowleys, I rediscovered my love of the bicycle. Both cycling and sailing connect me to nature and give me a sense of freedom and adventure. Now, I'm going to try to combine the two. I bought this old sailboat with the goal of sailing it to the Caribbean and then to Europe to do some epic sailing and exploring by bike. But first, I've got to refit and modernize this big old classic. Oh, and I'm on an insanely tight budget, so I'm going to do as much of the work as I can myself. And if I can do it, so can you. Special shout out and thank you to our newest Patreon supporters. Thanks so much for jumping on board. Your support helps keep this show chugging along, so thanks very much. If you caught my earlier episodes, you know that I've been chugging through my priority list. I've replaced the stuffing box, I've rebed all the chain plates, hatches, and a chock block. I've ripped out electrical, my single sideband radio, the autopilot, I've overhauled the engine room. But there's one thing that I have put off, which is dealing with the propane locker. It's one of the more dangerous things on the boat.
You have what they call in the boat business a bomb. It's a bomb. Yeah. It's Hiroshima. All right. I'm going to touch this very carefully. Oh, you're going to disconnect it? Yeah. Oh, Jesus, don't try to make me coffee in this boat.
That's legendary boat builder Walter Schulz letting me know exactly what he thinks of the problem.
All right. Oh, my God. You know, this is a bomb. It's not a propane locker. It's a bomb. Oh, my God. No, this is a bomb. Look at the size of this area. You realize if this fills up with gas, all right, you blow that building out besides the boat. You blow the whole transom out and probably yourself up.
The volume of the lazarette locker is pretty enormous. It's the entire transom of the boat, and it's about a foot deep, and it goes along the whole back of the boat. And I thought, what could I do here? You know, I've seen a lot of modern construction where this whole thing comes up and it's really easy. And I thought, if you just cut it here, it's just fiberglass.
Yeah, we were all set to get airfare for the Italian craftsmen that were going to fly in from Genoa to do this, make this thing. It was going to lift up and it had a seat and it was going to have a thing. Yeah. You know, you laid that whole thing on me when I first met you, you know, and I thought very polite.
Yeah, you were very polite, yeah.
I didn't say
maybe not after you...
Kidding me or what? All right, you know, I just met you, so I didn't want to say anything. I couldn't tease
Maybe when you drove away, you said something in the car like...
Oh, what happened here? What happened?
But I think the lesson for me and for other people out there that might be in my shoes are, sure, you can go home at night and dream of these fantastical solutions, right?
Everybody... It's not just you, don't feel that, all right? Yeah. Because I've been dealing with it all my life. Everybody's got a $5 million solution. Yeah. Everybody. Right?
Your impression upon me and your methodology is keep it simple, keep it common sense.
And keep make it fun somehow. How do you make this job fun?
Don't turn it into a career, right?
You know, when I opened this thing up the first time, and I looked at this, you know, and I saw it for the first time, I exaggerated. Yeah. I did. Okay. And I apologize for that because my instant reaction was Hiroshima, 1945. Right. And that was a gross. You know, this is not Hiroshima, 1945. It's not. Okay. All right. What it is, it's the Hindenburg 1937. Right? Yeah. Because this whole thing would have filled up with gas, blown out, and while you were flying through the air, you'd be screaming, "Oh, the humanity."
Oh, the humanity.
All right? Oh, the humanity is what you'd be screaming. All right. I've been at this a long time. All right. Millions of decades. And the one thing I have never, ever done, not ever, all right, is ever fabricated a propane box. There's no reason for it. Yeah. So anybody watching this, all right, then it's just not an operational job. Yeah. All right. But what this is, it's a test of mental resiliency. All right, where do you find the common sense? Now, when you laid out the job, you had a whole thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Where this was going to come down, we're going to make a new mold. This was going to be a one-piece seat, and we were all set to start bringing in the craftsmen from Genoa. And that's a no-go.
No.
What do you do here? What's the problem? All right. All we're trying to do is contain propane gas, nothing more. All right. In the event there's a leak, it doesn't seep all through the boat. All right. We want it to leak out the transom because the transom happens to be here. All right. If we were somewhere else, we'd be looking for another spot. We have a natural spot right now. All right. So what we want to do, we've got one wall. It's a wall. All right. We've got another wall. We need a four-sided thing. We have two things already here.
Yep.
They're here. All right. Okay. So now what we need to do is we have to get another wall here and another wall here, and we have a box. All right. Now, what do you make it out of? We could make it out of cardboard and duct tape.
Yep.
Who's looking?
Right.
Who's checking your work? You're not charging anybody for it, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting paid by the hour,
Yep.
all right? Okay, so if that's the only skill you had, and that's the only material, you get a razor knife, some cardboard, duct tape. You want to seal it good, all right? You want to seal it. You don't want to do this half-ass,
Right.
but you don't want to get crazy,
Yep.
all right? The object here is that we have a box that we can turn the propane on, all right? And turn the stove on. So this is an exercise in how simple
Yep.
can you make this with the skills and material that you have. With me here, I'll probably make this a little more complicated than it should because I've never done this before.
Yeah.
All right? But I know we have to build two walls.
Yeah.
All right? We start out with cardboard and a pencil. All right? Cardboard and pencil. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to get in here, all right? And what we want to do, all right, okay, is we want to get in here and get this angle, all right? Okay? Okay, it's going to be one of those, all right? So, I'm going to hold this like that, and you're going to, I'm going to give you a pencil.
Right.
I'm going to hold this very carefully.
Got the scribe. I've actually got a
And you're
scribe.
going to scribe. Yeah, that's what we need, the scribes. So open up the scribes, and we're going to get a rough cut. All right. And we have to get everything to fit through this hatch. So it's got to be a wall made in two pieces. And that's it. All right. So we're going to take that. Let me have another piece of cardboard. All right. With these cardboard pieces all cut and trimmed, with that, we're going to go back to the shop at Shannon, and we're going to cut up, I don't know, probably, I've got some Penske board down, scraps laying down a shop. Maybe we'll use those. Doesn't matter. It only has to contain
Yep.
gas, which is heavier than air.
Yep.
So we know it's going to sink.
Yep.
That's why all propane lockers can be open on the top.
What do you think about the drain holes
Yeah,
that
good
existing?
I see we've got a limber hole in there.
And another
And the
one
thing
there.
I can see, yeah, that may not be in, but we'll drill some new holes. All right. What the hell? It's just a hole saw. All right. They're a little small. We're going to enlarge them a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we've got it. But
And those being above the water line, not a problem. What about if I'm on a hard, port tack, and I've got a following sea? Will water get up in there?
yeah,
Do I care?
no.
Okay. Now I don't.
The bottles are kind of waterproof. They're made out of metal.
Yeah.
All right. They're not,
Yeah.
What's going to happen? We get some water in the propane locker.
Yeah.
All right. Who cares? It'll wash the dirt out.
Yeah.
Don't have to paint the propane bottle again, please.
Shame.
All right?
Yeah.
And off we go. I see that you already took this latch out, which is okay.
Yep.
And and we're going to put some gasket material all around this.
Yep.
And we're going to hold that hatch like that.
Yep.
All right. And a few drops of water get in around the hinge.
We're gonna relax.
You don't care.
Yeah.
Relax. You don't care, all right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a hermetically sealed surgical room where we're doing brain surgery.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of dumb bottles sitting.
And so that'll grab this under lip right here. Once with
It's going to grab this lip,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
We're going to fool with that a little bit, but I think we're going to put it right around here and try to,
Yeah.
and that'll hold it down.
The source propane line. How am I going to reattach, or am I going to rerun the line there?
Now what we're gonna do, you know, it's copper, which is pretty good, by the way. Honestly, whoever did this job, you know, other than the mess they made out of this, not very handy. We're gonna find this drops down into this cabin. We're
Yeah.
sitting over a bunk or something below
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna find the other end. We're gonna go cut it there,
Yep.
make a hose connection,
Yeah.
and come into this locker with hose.
Okay.
All right, and it'll get us. It's going to get us.
Is there anything special about the hose for propane?
Well, it has to be, and this is it. See, it's got to be U.S. Coast Guard type A1.
Okay.
All right, it's got to be, and you want to use that too. It's
Yeah.
a little expensive, but it's who
Okay.
cares?
Yeah.
You're only going to need a few feet. We're going to replace
Yeah.
all of this. This is interesting.
I think this was upside down. It was to protect the
What was it?
solenoid like that.
Oh, that was
it was
it.
an umbrella.
Yeah, he made an umbrella. See what I mean? So, nothing wrong with that. It worked, sort of.
Did it though? I don't know.
No, I
It's a
don't think
little.
yeah, look at it. Yeah, no, it didn't work. But it was an idea anyway.
That would be part of the cardboard duct tape plan.
It was definitely an idea.
So will we mount this solenoid in the dry locker up and under here,
Right
maybe?
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got an opportunity right here.
Yeah.
Perfect spot.
Yeah.
All right, right there. All right, so we're going to grab that. We're back to Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
Roman poet, statesman, one-time emperor, all right, wrote a thing called the Mementos, all right. Everybody, including George Washington, all the founding fathers, had to read Mementos. It's fascinating. It's actually survived 2,000 years, all right. And what he come up with and what he wrote a lot of fine things, all right. But the one that just jumped into my mind looking at this nightmare, adversity brings forth clarity of thought. All right, and here's a guy that made a little umbrella out of a jar here. You know, he finished his yogurt and he stuck this thing on, trying to keep the water. Adversity brings forth. I don't think this is a good example.
Of
I
clarity.
don't think if Marcus Aurelius was here, I don't think defines clarity of thought.
Yeah.
But it's a solution.
Right.
And it worked.
Right.
All right. And it worked for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they were sailing, having fun, doing stuff with the boat, cooking. He's still alive. The boat didn't blow up. To the shop, and we'll cut up some pieces and set this thing up. And then we come back.
Okay. Well, right around the same time that I was working on that project with Walter, I got a call from Dave Kirkpatrick, who you might remember was from Edson Steering Systems. He said, "Hey, do you mind if I swing by and take a look, and maybe we should think about replacing your steering cables?" We had chatted a little bit about the age of the cables, and I couldn't find any documentation within the last 20 years, so he said I'm pretty well overdue, that 10 years is usually the time where you want to swap out the cables, so we took advantage of a nice weather day, and Dave swung by. Hey, Dave.
Hey, how are you?
I cracked the hatch open, which is super luxurious. I guess not every one of your customers has that kind of access, right?
No.
As we saw last time we were around. So it's been a while. What's the next step that we're going to do here?
So we're gonna first start with undoing the cables,
Okay.
and that will kind of allow us access to the sheaves, to get the sheaves out, see how worn down the pins are, and then we'll go up in the cockpit and open up the pedestal,
Yeah.
take the compass off, and then
Fun.
pull out the whole chain.
Oh, wow. Are you definitely going to remove all the sheaves? Is that part of the plan?
Well, yeah, because this boat still has the bronze sheaves. I want to see how worn down they are. We've seen some pretty horror story ones of those.
Okay.
Then we can reline the bushings in the sheaves, which will kind of make them work
Yep.
as new.
Okay.
And then we'll replace the pins with stainless ones. So
Okay.
yeah, I think we'll take them all out.
Cool. All right. Can I co-pilot or be your assistant?
So we'll start at the quadrant at the tensioning bolts.
So these are my tensioning bolts here.
Yep.
And I did not correct my nut orientation, which, if some of you remember, it's supposed to have the lock nut on the back side of there. This configuration is a no bueno.
These will spin off pretty quickly here once it gets loose. And this perfectly illustrates the uselessness of the forward nut here.
That is a decorative piece.
So that one's off, and then I'll just move over to the next one. And you can see this one's made with cable clamps. These cable clamps are actually backward.
Oh yeah.
I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, there might have been a viewer that chimed in.
Yeah.
A saying for it. What was the saying?
Never saddle a dead horse.
Yep.
So the tension, the sort of cable stress is highest here, next highest here, not very high here, and almost not here. But the way cable clamps are, you have this nice saddle in the bottom, which kind of cradles the whole thing, has a lot of surface area, and then the U-bolt kind of just smashes the thing down. You can see how much more deformed this side of the cable is. So you want to be sure when we put new cables on, we'll get the clamps the right way, and that's important.
Is it recommended to replace those?
Yeah, we'll replace them.
Okay.
So normally we have chain and cable kit as a kit.
Yeah.
And the cable length is not that particular in how long it is, especially when you're using the cable clamp. So you just have some extra and chop off what you don't need. Yeah, so this is the leftover part of the old autopilot. I have these little cotter pins in the master link here, and we'll pull those out and open the chain. Pull these cotters out.
Nice.
So now you should be able to just pull the chain and wire all the way through off of that thing.
So now we're starboard side.
So we're gonna hope that these, it looks like these cotters are gonna pull out, they're not deflected at all, so they might pull out a little too easily.
How would you see them deflected?
They would just be bent open.
Okay.
Like,
I see.
you know.
Overly flared out.
Yeah, but these ones are not at all. Hopefully what we see is these things drop down fairly easily. Surprisingly, there isn't that much play on this one, so I'm just gonna pull the pin. We're gonna hammer us for this.
Yeah.
Drag this doggy out.
Nice.
So that's that one, and line this up right. We may get lucky. We'll pull this one. They were as diligent on. So this one was actually replaced at one point. You can see that this one's steel.
Ah.
This is actually not one of our pins. I can tell because our pins have the cotters on both sides.
Okay.
And this one has a head on it. And the reason that it's done with the cotters on both sides is so that you have these ears.
Yep.
These ears are meant to hold on to the cotters and keep the thing from spinning, keep the pin from spinning. These bearings are actually in sort of remarkably good shape.
Yeah. What's your rating on that?
Like for its age, like way better than A+. You can see that the cable alignment has been good because these are still kind of square.
Yep.
If you get the cable out of alignment, then you would see these like knife edge as the cable would just saw into it and start to wear it away.
So the cheeks would have a sharpening as you get to the outer edge.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so not only is that a sign of good alignment, but it probably also means that the cable had enough tension in it throughout its life. A good fair bit of wear on this thing. I'm not sure how much the camera's picking up, but you can see that channel in there is dug pretty deep. But we've seen ones of these that are 90% of the way through.
Oh, wow.
And just holding on by a literal thread. This is pair 1 of 3, I think.
I have a bonus pair of sheaves for you.
You do?
Yeah, I discovered them over the winter. This is a bonus spot, which is here on an aft head. So that means we have a total of 4 sets of sheaves. We've pulled out 1 so far. Next up is to pull out the next 3. So with all 4 sets of sheaves pulled out, you're ready to head up top on deck to take apart the pedestal. Taking the pedestal apart proved to be pretty simple. There were just 4 screws to undo. And then disconnect the electrical wire that provides a light for the compass. There are 4 more screws holding on the midsection of the pedestal, and those you can see internally here. And once those are undone, you can have full access to the chain and sprocket that are located inside the pedestal. So the trick here is to just pull straight up on the chain, and if you've got any cable still attached, to pull that with it up through the pedestal. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers might spot that my brake shoe is missing on one side, and we did manage to find that and dig it out and put it back in place in its proper location. With the chain out, the only thing left to do is to pull the rest of the cable all the way through the whole system. And then just to be sure, Dave's going to take a couple of measurements of the cable and chain just to make sure that he gets the right replacement kit ordered.
5/8 pitch, which means it's number 60 chain.
And so this week is going to be a little bit of a cliffhanger because you won't get to see exactly the finished product just yet. Dave's going to come back with some steering kit. We're going to replace that. And I'm going to go visit Walter at his shop, and we're going to build and install the propane lazarette fix next time around. Oh man, do I have a lot of people to thank for this episode. Starting with Walter, Tom, Kevin, and Rhett from Shannon Boat Company. I also want to thank Dave, Kirkpatrick, and Edson Marine, Betsy, and Rue for extra camera help. This one took a village, so thanks to everybody for pitching in. I want to say a special thanks to Mike Mahan for his years and years of support. Really appreciate it. And of course, thanks to all the other Patreon supporters who've been helping to keep this chugging along. Thanks so much.
And then we come back.
Okay, great.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right.